We're gonna beat it without dying.
Wake up, Buttercup.
Oh, it was just a dream. A convenient dream summarizing a previous video where I tried to beat Spore without dying that I will link above. However, you don't need to watch that one to watch this one, and on second thought, that previous video isn't monetized, and this one is, so I think you should just stay right here. I tried to rule the galaxy. I put everything on the line in the name of greed, and the line snapped. I pushed 1,000 species to extinction just to drive my very own into the dust alongside them. I lost my sweet Miguel. My heart is heavy with regret and guilt and despair,
500K
and it is
views.
time for a part 2 of Spore. First of all, if you don't know what Spore is, what the fuck? And secondly, it's a game from ancient times about building up your very own intergalactic species. From a wee-wee. You go from one cell to more than one cell to more than one cell to brain cells to cell phones, etc. Impressive, I know. But today is going to be more impressive than any wee-wee you've ever seen. Because today we're going to beat this silly game, and we're going to beat it without dying. For realsies this time. Let's get to it. Difficulty, hard. Diet, not vegan. Planet name, very cool planet plante plant. It's perfect. Add a bit of life to the scene, and we're in. This is the cell stage. The first stage in the game. We orbit a measly amoeba in a rather large pond. Mobility is limited, brain activity isn't active, and everyone looks hideous. Our goal? To munch. Unidentifiable clump of nutrient, that's a munch. Some little fella with a propeller? That's a munch. Massive beaked abomination. Okay, maybe that's not quite a... Just kidding, I'm big now, that's a munch. In fact, I get so big, the ladies begin to notice me with my aptitude for cellular shenanigans, and I father a son. Must admit, I'm not quite sure he's mine. I name him Hermpel. I do quite like the cell stage. It's simple, it's fun, and not at all stressful like the later stages. Hermpel has died. Okay, I never even really liked him. We begin again, landing on very cool planet. I spawn surrounded with delectable little bits. I munch, and I munch, and I... Alright, no biggie. We land on very cool pants, where I scrounge for a few minutes before getting absolutely, unapologetically bullied out of existence. Whatever, I'm not even mad. Very cool plink is next, where I die in 60 seconds. Very cool plint is next, where I die in 60 seconds. Very cool plinte is next, where I don't die in 60 seconds. It's a goddamn miracle. I evade the big naughties and munch my way into fathering yet another paternally questionable generation. Surviving long enough to reach what I would argue is the turning point in cell stage, being when you unlock the Big Stink. The Big Stink is OP, as it not only kills anything that happens to be near you, but also makes the poison of other cells obsolete. I truly believed this would be my breakaway into finishing cell stage, but I forgot one crucial detail about Spore. She's cold, distant, and wants to kill me. Just my type. A few deaths later, largely within the first 60 seconds, I dropped into very cool Panlet. It should be noted that by this point I was running out of ways to rearrange the letters in Planet. As such, it was time to lock in. These first few minutes of the stage seemed to be the hardest, as I didn't have any of the more useful parts to defend myself, and was too slow to avoid the larger cells, so I made an effort to focus entirely on GTFOing at the first sign of danger. And would you know it, it worked wonders. Cell larger than me, I GTFO. Cell the same size as me, I GTFO. My lover dies right in front of me, I GTFO. It's flawless. I get spiked up, I get poisoned up, I get bricked up. TLDR, you're down, I'm up. You're trying to eat me. Right back at you. You're trying to eat me, plural. More for me. You're trying to eat me, plural, and you're 10 times my size. Just take my son, I don't even care. And just like that, with only moderate to great sacrifice, I had bested the first stage. With some highly accelerated evolution, I had the stubs to get schmovin' into the creature stage. Now, creature stage isn't like the cell stage. There are no OP parts that carry you to the end, and no throwaway children to save you in your time of need. You have to grind, you have to hustle, and you have to think of family. Oh, how I love family. There's no better feeling than being surrounded by those you love. And what does family mean to me, you ask? Family to me is when little Pete breaks a baseball bat on the knees of a foreign species. Family to me is when Grandma follows up with one of her famous curb stomps. Family to me is everyone gathered around a fresh corpse, enjoying a warm meal. To me, that's what it's all about. It's all about family. So basically I was luring creatures back to my nest and having them killed there to avoid risking myself. After doing that enough, my brain grew and I could recruit an ally, meaning I now had family on the go. I wanted to make a creature that actually looks cool, so I put an emphasis on scavenging for parts as often as possible, as with the Dark Injection mod I had installed, there were a lot. After upgrading Sandpole to Chadmeleon, I was hit with Ominous Box. Ominous. I got myself some horns to help me shake the ominous feeling, only to find out my family had happened to move nest whilst I was incubating. But no bother, my drive for family meant my steps were fast and furious.
You gotta go, bro. You gotta go fast without even thinking.
And I was there just in time to find Grimaces had joined us for family games night. Asteroids. Maze Runner. Ominous Box.
Stinky, spicy, ugly tomato.
It was on the day of my birth that the Tifa appeared. We didn't know where it came from or what it wanted, only that it watched. Upon trying to attack, it brought the rain. Upon trying to communicate, it shook with an uneasy hum. But more than anything, it just watched. I don't know what happened here, but it was pretty freaky. I went to destroy a few species, watched a monkey get abducted, destroyed a few species, watched another monkey get abducted, and just continued this for a while. My nest got attacked by an epic where I discovered there are some knees not even family can reach. Before doing a little trick I like to call completely changing my species. If we wanted to actually beat this game, we would need a bit of Eldritch God injected into our creature. It's only logical. I went ahead and destroyed some species, killed the rogue, destroyed more species, killed the rogue, evolved to be more Eldritchy, where I then decided to destroy more species, until eventually, after much time and much killing, we ran out. There were near enough no more species that would actually give me DNA upon extincting. Which meant it was time to evolve! Much like a Minecraft YouTuber, I had everything I could ask for, and only needed to keep my hands to myself. Oh fuck! Right, we were done with the creature stage, and yet my creature still wasn't up to scratch. Seeing as we already had max stats and DNA would only be useful for cosmetic reasons, I decided to give myself a bunch.
Money!
Actually, I think you're cheating. It won't affect gameplay, and our planet has less life than your Tinder profile, so I don't want to hear it. After much fifth and much faff, I ask you seat yourself and bear witness. Now that we had a truly ethereal and otherworldly being, it was time to play with sticks.
Ooga booga.
My opinion on Tribal Stage is probably worse than Epstein's opinion on puberty. Every stage has its own gameplay loop going on, and then there's Tribal Stage, whose gameplay loop is wait to get raided, engage in riveting combat, raid back whilst they're rebooting, wait to get raided, etc. To start, I waited to be raided. But I also gathered meat. Not too much meat though, as going above 70 would mean a second tribe would spawn and I would be, in food terms, spit roasted. To prevent getting spit roasted, I committed spore tax evasion and poured my meat into assets, getting as many tribe members and utility buildings as possible. Utilities that would purely act as distractions for incoming raids because weapons and utilities aren't actually useful if you have max stats from the previous stage. Which we do, proving once again that this stage is a lump of junk. I dogged on the stage several more times, but in a moment of post-rage clarity, I was reminded that this game is like 20 years old and cut them out. Anger is the enemy of peace. Gandhi or someone. Anyways, a little scavenger comes running along and... oh, look. It's the Anon species from the first video. I wonder if they've grown to forgive me for my actions. Maybe they grew to understand my actions were for a greater purpose and I only wanted to create prosperity for future generations. Maybe this could be the start of a beautiful rekindling of friendship. For some reason, every other tribe save one was some variant of the creature we used in the previous playthrough. Welp. End of stage. Right, we need a nice friendly looking government building. Eye of Sauron. You can tell it's a friendly building because there are nice trees. It does feel like it's missing something. It's perfect. We may have missed the mark on the friendly government building, so let's make the housing nice and wholesome. Good, good. This factory is my most original piece, but the car is cold. We need strong soldiers for the wars ahead, and there is no pastime more hardcore than a Travis Scott concert. Confetti, bubbles, the man himself. Incredible. Now, after some extensive research on what would be best, I decided to design all our vehicles after the biologically perfect flea. We have some land fleas, some water fleas, and some airborne fleas, which would just be normal fleas, I guess. The civilization stage is a stage that has my cheeks clenched and my butt puckered more than any other. But since our previous defeat, I have grafted, I have grinded, and I have studied every possible way to keep the odds in my favor. This stage won't be beating me again. We begin. When starting, the map of civilization is empty, dry, and full of oil. As soon as you make a purchase or pump some oil, a dozen cities spawn and compete for resources. To make the most of this, I take our first God-given little flea and send him to the furthest geysers we're able to claim. As soon as he completes his task, I purchase 2 more fleas and set them to claim another 2 geysers, which they're able to do as these geysers are much closer to us than the freshly spawned cities. All the while, our first flea is claiming a 4th geyser that was located close to the original furthest geyser, meaning we have a claim on every geyser within the continent, just like that. But it's not all good. While we spend our excess money on prime real estate and fresh new fleas, the Orange faction has established a second city and developed a keen hatred for everyone else. We decide to use our wealth to purchase the racism out of them, at least temporarily. Green, on the other hand, offers a trade route which we accept, but only as a prank, and we perform a very hostile takeover. Orange sees us, and either because they're back to being racist or because they just witnessed a war crime, get salty, and this time we're forced to handle it. If you noticed, we made 2 of each fleet type before, one built for speed and one built for everything else. That's so we could swap them out depending on if we're in combat, resulting in some very OP combat fleas. Between our jacked fleas and something you can buy called a mighty bomb, we're able to very quickly dispatch both orange cities. The full continent is ours. At this point, we're able to purchase a little something called a plane, which we buy an army of, and oh boy, is it OP. We spend the next few minutes clearing prime real estate, until eventually, it's within grasp. The ICBM, capable of sending an insta-kill missile to every remaining city. It is time. I send the troops home, I send the homes home, and I prepare for a homecoming with the push of a button. Nothing had happened. I had spent all the money we had, sold our whole army, entire cities, and nothing had happened. Just like that. Infinite progress over billions of years, 1,000 of 1,000 generations, meticulous planning and thought, all sold over a faulty button out of my control. It's over. I'm sorry. There's nothing else I can do. But what good is it to try it all if you're not willing to go further than anyone has ever gone before? What's the point in saying, I am a non-man, if I'm not proud of the place my own two legs have taken me? When the game is hard and the rules unfair, you don't whine and pout and beg. You reel, you buckle, and you remind the game that you are harder. The wolf is coming inside me. Blue begins attacking my defenseless cities, but I let them. I build my wealth and focus my attention. We just need to sell enough for another ICBM, and we can't initiate a second. The button was never an ally. It's so clear to me now. It's so clear that I was made for the challenge, and the button so obviously wasn't. Men, gather your numbers and your will, because it's all we have left. Throw your lives to the flames so we may fuel the fire of victory. Yes. 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 Yes.